We are back. Back.
We can't start like this. We have to start slow. I just returned from clown school. I just returned from clown school.
Yeah.
I just returned from
Clown school.
Clown school.
Clown school. Yeah.
No.
What?
Wow. Two different energies.
What?
As always. Story of our lives.
I'm your backups. I'm your hype man.
That's true. And I'm the woman who desperately doesn't want a hype man.
That'd be a funny like sketch or short for you, like a woman who's like being followed around by a hype man.
Yeah, that actually write that down.
She's like, "Can you please stop?" I'm like, "Yeah. No."
And I'm like, I'm literally begging you.
She's begging me. Kind of regulating me.
Oh my God, please. Oh my God, I am at this point begging you to stop. You know what? I'm really jet lagged. I'm going to sleep. Good night, Noah.
Okay, but can we talk first? It's the Bedtime Podcast. So Syd returned from clown school.
It's my big comeback, baby. I just got back from clown school in France. And I'm a changed woman.
I fucking missed you, man.
I know, you were really lonely.
So were you.
No, I was so, and I'm already fixing his eyebrows. I was so lonely.
Yeah. Well, how was it? Like, we all want to know.
I know. I don't even know where to begin. I'm smiling ear to ear because I think it's so fucking funny that I went to clown school in France. And I was telling my friend Brie about it today, and I was like, it's crazy. It was like circus clown. I didn't know it would be circus clown. And she was like, didn't you Google it before you went? And I was like, no. I didn't do any research.
I think that's a good way to go into an experience like that, like to not have any expectations.
Yeah, I had none.
Like to just have an open mind and just go for it.
Yeah. I mean, I knew the teachers would be really tough and mean, which despite being prepared, still shocking. But yeah, it was full on circus clown.
Tell me about the first day. Let's take me like you get to Étampes, which is where clown school was.
Yeah, it's like an hour south of Paris. It's a tiny medieval town. You can walk the whole thing in 15 minutes. It was so fun.
And you walked to school?
Yeah, I walked to school.
What's that walk like?
It's 3 minutes down like a cobblestone lane. You pass the boulangerie. Chloe and I would go in and get 2 croissants each and a couple treats for school because you have to bring your own lunch. And the first week I was not packing lunch. I was like, I'm just going to bring treats from the boulangerie. So we were having about 3 croissants a day at that point. So yeah, you walk to school, cobblestones. I think the first day was maybe snowing. It was so charming, so cute. Like a week before school, they sent you this terrifying email that was like, we lock the doors 15 minutes before class starts. So we open the doors 45 minutes before class starts and we lock them 15 before.
It's like Whiplash, but with clowns. Yeah.
Honestly, it's like shocking how mean clown school is. So yeah, you have like a 30-minute window to come in. And
they will not let you in.
They will not let you in. They even say like, don't bother texting, don't bang on the door. We're not letting you in until the next opening of the door, which is like 2 hours later.
And no one ever showed up late?
Some people did, and they let them in because I didn't realize this was an option. Some people stayed in Paris and took the train in the morning. So if the trains were like running off schedule, they got to come in.
Gotcha.
But I don't know why anyone would stay in Paris because my Airbnb was like $40 a night. It was so cheap. And I walked 2 minutes to school. I don't like stress, as we all know.
Yeah.
So it was perfect.
I wouldn't say you don't. Yes, you don't like stress, but I think you also try to create situations for yourself where you can have the least amount of stress.
Yes, exactly. So you go in, they're germ freaks. So Philippe Gaulier, like the main teacher's really old. He's 80 and he's like gonna die at any minute. So the place is like, you have to take off your shoes right when you come in and change into your inside shoes. And you have to spray your shoes with like alcohol, like your It's so crazy. And then you go in and then you have to put all your shit in like a plastic bag. And then you're only allowed a mini plastic bag to take into class. So I would put like, and you can't have food or drink or anything in class.
That's because of germs.
Yeah. So like in my little mini bag, I would put my journal, my dry shampoo. I don't go anywhere without dry shampoo, and tissues. And yeah. Oh, and week 2, I started putting my little clown nose in because you got your own clown nose.
They gave everyone a clown nose.
Yeah. That was like end of week 1, rite of passage.
When I told a lot of people that you were gone and you went to clown school, a lot of people's first question was, does she have a clown nose?
I have one now.
Okay, so tell me about that first class.
So in the morning we had movement class, which was taught by this like, I thought he was British. He lived in London, but he ended up being like a white South African guy, which more on that later. So movement I was obsessed with at first because we were doing like cartwheels and playing games and like doing acrobatics, which AKA guys, cheerleading. So I immediately was like, I was a cheerleader. Like, I'm really good at this stuff. So like, I would be like, I'll show everyone how to do a round off. And I'd be like, yeah, I'll get on your shoulders. Like, no big deal. Like, and then it turned out 2 other guys there who were really, really little and really muscular were from the actual circus. So like they could do actual flips and shit. And I still was like, no, I can do it. Like I was a cheerleader.
Like no one gives a fuck.
No, it ended up, the whole thing builds. But I the first couple of days I would not shut up about being a cheerleader. I ended up pulling my groin. It was all I could talk about how much pain I was in. But movement class I was obsessed with.
Was there a reason behind the movement? Like, is there anything to learn from it?
So the teacher kept being like, impulse. It's all about impulse. So, which...
Clowning,
yeah. And I'm trying to figure out how it's all connected still. This one TA told me it'll come to me in a couple weeks. Impulse. You've got to have the impulse. So we would do like roly-polies and then cartwheels and round-offs. And he was like, you're all going to do backflips by the end of next week. And I was like, wow, amazing. And then by the end of week 1, I was like, some people still can't do roly-polies. Like, this is fucking stupid. And that's when I started to bond with the circus guy, Omar. And he was from Argentina. So we'd be like talking shit in Spanish. And then he'd be like, this is nonsense. And we bonded over that.
What was nonsense?
Him being like, we're gonna do flips and we're doing cartwheels because people hurt themselves. Even I hurt myself, and I was a cheerleader.
Could Omar do a flip?
Yeah, he can do like a back flip, round off back handspring, back tuck. He can do all that stuff.
Okay.
He's
so they're
amazing.
definitely like, they're in the class amongst the students, there are different skill levels.
Yeah. So he's like a real clown making like thousands of dollars a day in the circus.
Gotcha.
Like,
and he he went to Gaulier, that's what it's called?
Yeah.
The name of the school? Mm-hmm. To just further his education?
Yeah, because he'd already been in Paris for months. He was in a show. So like on the weekend he went to do his show. And the other guy, Facundo, was also in Paris doing he's like the lead clown for Cirque du Soleil.
Facundo.
Yeah. When Gaulier met him, he was like, what is your name? Fuck window. So yeah, they were there already and they had met. It's crazy. Okay, so they're both from circus families. I'm obsessed with them.
Yeah.
Omar's dad owned a circus when he was little. So like he would basically like travel around in the circus with his dad and nobody ever forced him to perform, but he just like loved it. So he's been a clown forever. And then Facundo is from like a circus family. So They were all in the circus, even when he was little.
Like his whole family, what were they like?
I think his parents were dancers.
Gotcha.
And then they ended up like, I think maybe they bought a circus. I'm not positive. It's on Facundo's Instagram though, so I will link the video.
Fuck window.
They're the nicest guys ever, and
so they know each. They met.
Oh yeah. So when Omar was 10, Facundo's family like came and performed at his dad's circus, and Facundo was like 17. So then they met, and then all these years later they saw they were both in Paris, and they like got for the circus, so they like got together, and one of them was like, oh, I'm doing Gaulier, and the other one was like, oh my god, I'm doing Gaulier. And so they seemed like they were best friends.
Wow.
It was the best.
They knew they remembered each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they were both from, Omar was from Argentina. No, Omar was from Chile, and Facundo was from Argentina. So they also like spoke Spanish together. And I tried to like weasel my way in and like speak Spanish with them. And they were like, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
But they let me sometimes.
You kept saying I'm a cheerleader in Spanish.
I don't even know how to say that.
Okay, so your movement is that first class in the morning.
Yeah. And the teacher is like, I'm an actor in London and with the National Theatre, which I guess is like a really big deal, but I want to see receipts.
You want to see what?
Receipts.
For what do you mean?
I want to make sure he's actually performing there all the time.
What was his name?
Ben.
That's your main teacher.
For movement. We have two main teachers.
Okay, so that's your movement teacher. And movement was every morning?
Yeah.
So every morning you're doing fucking cartwheels and...
Yeah, until week 2 when I was like, I'm in horrific pain. So he had to switch up the curriculum a bit.
Because of you?
I complained to him. It's not like I went to like the head of the thing, but I was like, I cannot move. Like, I can't do this. So we had like a stretching day, and then we had a dancing day.
Yeah, you're like, I'm a cheerleader. I don't do this.
Yeah. Well, I was like, I should be able to do this. So if I'm getting hurt, like...
Because you're a cheerleader, you should
Because I was a cheerleader in high school.
What years were you a cheerleader from?
From when I was 12 to 16.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I should be able to do all this.
I don't think so.
Why not?
Because, I don't know. Like,
I'm still flexible.
You are flexible.
Yeah. Gross. Okay. So, movement class. And then we have a half hour for lunch, which was not long enough.
Yeah. And you have to eat lunch in the school.
Yeah.
You can't leave.
You can leave, but it's not recommended because they close the doors.
Yeah. There's not enough time.
It's too scary. And you have to change your shoes and put all your shit back in this plastic bag.
Yeah.
It was like too much. So you could get little coffees for €1 at the school. And they sold like little snacks, and all the TAs were there. There was Laura from Spain, Miles from Atlanta, and then I think her name was Dane, and she was from Colorado. The TAs, and they were all really cool and nice. So you have a half hour to eat lunch. So you're like talking to people. A lot of people are smoking, vaping in the little courtyard area. And then you have clown class, which is where I learned I didn't know what clowning was, because you've seen like clowning stuff in LA where it kind of seems like character, but a little crazier.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was. But this was like, they turn on circus music and you have to enter, and then you have to like go in a big circle as if you're saying hi to everybody in the circus. Like they make you pretend you're in like a round stage.
Yeah.
And then you come to the center and like you introduce your clown. And so like I come out my first day and I just start doing a character. I name myself Vicky Chosen because our teacher Carlo is Italian. And there's this girl Vicky in class who I end up like really becoming good friends with. She's from London.
Vicky Chosen.
Because Vicky's like, I'll go next. And he goes, okay, Vicky Chosen. And I was like, Vicky Chosen is such a good name. So I come out and I'm like, oh, I'm Vicky Chosen.
You were English?
Yeah. Because, the thing is, they're like, an accent, you always do an accent or a funny voice. It make you more interesting.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's a good rule of comedy. We should do it. We should do a funny voice for this.
We do
podcast.
Accents on this podcast all the time.
No, but we should only talk in an accent.
I think people would turn it off immediately. So I come out, I'm Vicky Chosen, and I start doing like improvising a character because it's all improv.
What are your moves?
I think I was like, I'm Vicky Chosen, and I was Miss. I think I said I was Miss London, like 2 years in a row. Like something fucking stupid. And then I kept being like, I don't know. I don't remember. I think I was like, stop. I know I'm pretty, but I'm like more than a pretty face. It was really stupid. Nobody was laughing. And the guy immediately was like, Why she talks so much? This is embarrassing. No one laugh. Goodbye. But it really went on for what felt like 45 years. Because no one is laughing. And so this just is the status quo. Like, it's not like I'm some freak of nature. Like, people are just up there and no one is laughing.
No one's getting laughs.
No one's getting laughs. Even like the professional clowns.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, we're in for a doozy. Like, and everyone's getting the same thing. Like, this is embarrassing. No one laugh. This is catastrophe. Like, it's so crazy. So you're just up there, and then he bangs you off with a drum. And I was like, oh my God. So then I find out that clowning is like, like, you don't talk that much. You like basically act like you're, cuckoo.
That's not what you wanted to say.
That's not what I wanted. You act like you're wink, wink, cuckoo. And the whole idea is like you're supposed to flop, I guess. Because,
what's flopping?
So flopping is like bombing. Like you try a joke, it doesn't work. And then the whole point is like you save the show. And so like day 2, Ben, the movement teacher, was like, I remember when I was in class, I was having a flop. And I was dressed as a professor. And then I was totally flopping. And then I made an animal noise and I saved the show. And I was like, I would never do that. I will never go on stage and make a fucking animal noise to save the show.
It's such funny advice to a comedian to be like, yeah, you should make noises.
Yeah, it's insane. And then like that day in clown class, everybody tried making animal noises when they weren't doing well. And it obviously didn't work because like not being funny and then going, it's not funny.
That's kind of funny.
It was crazy. Oh my God, it was so insane. So yeah, it was basically like a week of flopping.
What when you say like I learned that clowning was like like what do you mean? Like what do you mean that's what clowning is?
So it's basically
like did they ever say like clowning is the art of blank? Like
no.
Yeah.
They were just like, to be a good clown, you must be ridiculous. Okay, so that's Gaulier. So we had him the first day and then like the third day and then the last day. Gaulier's 80 years old. He couldn't teach for more than an hour at a time. He can't lift his head up. So his chin is permanently touching his chest.
It's his school.
Yeah, it's his school. He's the famous clown. I guess he had some famous show where he broke 100 plates every night.
Long time ago?
Yeah. And he's this old French guy and he's the meanest one. The Italian teacher's Carlo, who we normally had. But so that first day we have Gaulier and he'd be like, to be a clown, you must be ridiculous. You must be an idiot. And like when you're on stage, he never laughs. He just goes, this is horrible. You are horrible. Shut up. Go sit down. Are you Jewish? He looks like a Jew.
Oh my God.
Because his wife is sitting next to him. So he's like whispering to her, he looks like a Jew. It was bananas.
He's mean.
He's really mean. And so I go up.
But like mean in like a funny way?
Oh, he's hilarious.
Yeah,
we're all hysterically laughing. Some people were very upset because he is like racist and misogynist.
But is he aware? Is he trying to be funny?
I think he is.
Yeah, but he thinks it's funny to say the most outrageous thing.
Oh yeah. So like he gives us a speech at first. He's like, do you know how you find the first clown? And then like some people like Chloe was like, it's deep. You find it when you're a little girl and it's deep inside you. And he goes, no. The first clown was in England where everybody's boring. The worst thing you can be is boring. It's like hurts my chest to talk like this. So he like tells a story that makes absolutely no sense. And they give it to us on a piece of paper later about the first clown. It literally makes no sense. But then it's about like some like guy in the army. He was like, he was in the army, top level idiot. And then he goes home to his wife, Jenny, and he won't eat the soup Like the word for word, that's the story. Like how he won't eat the fucking soup.
That she makes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he becomes a clown.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like that's the story. Like it's a guy in the army who doesn't eat his wife's soup, and then he becomes the first clown.
To his wife?
No, like on stage. He like buys a circus.
Well, how is that connected to the soup?
I don't know. But that's the story he told us. So that was like 30 minutes of our 1 hour of teaching time.
But I don't see the connection there.
He was telling us the story of the first clown.
I know, but what does the soup have to do with how did he become a clown?
It's a huge part of the story, the soup.
What is the soup? What's the meaning?
I think
understand.
it's just like he's not hungry for the first time in his life. Top level idiot in the army. And then he buy a circus and his wife make the pillows for the circus. The story, like I said, the story makes no sense.
Okay.
That's just what he that's just what he talked to us about the first 30 minutes of the day. So then we get on stage. I'm fucking scared out of my mind.
What do you mean you get on stage?
He makes like 5 people get on stage at a time. He makes you all turn around. And then one by one, you're supposed to scare the audience and then look proud. So I do that. And then I'm like so nervous. And then he goes, if this was your girlfriend, how quickly would you kill her? So that was my first introduction to him.
He said that about you?
Yeah.
What did people say?
This guy, Ivano, who ended up being one of my besties, this guy from Rome, he was like, immediately. And then this other guy, Kurt from Australia, was like, I'd give it 6 years. And Golia goes, that is too generous. So I was like, wow, I'm a flop. I'm a flop and a failure.
Did you really feel bad?
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Because I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? I don't even know what clowning is.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
You felt embarrassed.
Well, everyone was doing bad.
Yeah.
And like, to be fair, like, I was still doing better than some people, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Some people just aren't funny.
Yeah, of course. I also think like if you're traveling so far and paying money to like come to this school, like I don't think you'd be satisfied if he was just like good.
No, it'd be horrible.
Like,
yeah.
You want coaching. You want that challenge.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't want to travel across the world to be good at something immediately. That's a waste of money.
Yeah.
So then the next day we do it in partners, the clowning.
Mm-hmm.
So this girl, Vicky, and I, so it's the 2 Vickies, go up. And
Vicky Chosen.
Yeah, she does improv in Bristol, where she lives. So we kind of start doing improv. And Carlo's like, this is the worst of the day. Get off stage. So we get off stage and I'm like, I have no fucking idea what to do. Like, I'm so stressed out.
Wow.
So then he makes us go back on stage later and he's like, you can have one chance to redeem yourself. So we do it again and we're like totally flopping and I'm fucking panicking. And I'm like, what am I going to do? And I'm like, oh, wait. And I do a roly-poly, like a forward roll. And I hit my head really hard. And everyone goes, and then Carlo goes, cry. So I fake cry and people start to laugh. And I'm like, what the fuck? So then he goes, cry harder. So I keep fake crying and people are laughing more. And then Vicky, by the grace of God, sees that they're laughing. So she starts crying too. And then we have like a little cry off. So I'm like shimmying while I'm crying and like doing the splits. And she's like kicking me. And like we have like get a big laugh and it goes great. And then I'm like, okay. So basically crying, you just act like so clowning, you just act like a fucking idiot. And that's all it is.
That's what he said.
Yeah, he was right. To be a clown, you must be ridiculous.
So it's almost very simple.
It's very simple.
You don't want to think, you don't want to
overthink.
Yeah.
You have to play like the bottom of your intelligence is what I realized.
Yeah, whereas improv, they teach you to play at the top of your intelligence.
Yeah. I basically had to unlearn everything I've ever learned about improv.
Yeah.
So then the rest of the week, it goes a little better for me, but like still terrible. Like I'm still so bad. But Chloe and I are having fun. Like we go to the big Kmart after school, and like Kmart in France is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
They're selling espresso machines.
Oh my God.
Like the veggies are organic. There's the most gorgeous selection of cheese and like dried meats. Oh my God, it's incredible. There's an organic section that would blow your fucking mind.
Yeah.
The tea. I could go on about the tea. And there's a little pharmacy in it. So I got to, buy my French beauty products.
Yeah.
So we do that after school. We went to the bar one night, which was really fun. And just like talk to people. And we all hated the same person in class. So we would talk so much shit.
That's the best.
It's the best.
It's the best knowing that you're not that person too.
I know. Yeah. It's really nice.
Can you dish any more on that person or no? You probably shouldn't.
I probably shouldn't. But they were the worst. And I unfollowed them immediately after clown school was over.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't want to deal with this while I'm here. So I followed them, but they got an unfollow literally the second class was over. So fucking annoying.
Yeah. So you go into week 2. Is there anything of note?
Well, I don't want to go. Chloe's gone. She had to go back to work. My legs still fucking hurt. I'm lonely now.
Yeah, remember you called me up and you were like, clown school's hard.
It's so hard. And I was like, I don't want to do another week of flopping.
Yeah.
Like really, it felt so bad. And the second week you have to wear a fucking costume every day.
Oh my God.
So everyone gets a costume. I forgot about this.
Can we we'll show them.
Yeah. I got Snow White, which basically just means I have like big eyes and I'm boring looking.
It looked so cute.
Thank you. That's sweet.
Yeah. I mean, even though you don't really look like yourself in those pictures, but
I really got worried I gained 50 pounds at clown school. These pictures, we'll post them. They're horrific.
It's like, you don't look like that at all.
I was like, oh my God.
You look like you're 500 pounds.
Yeah. Well, what's crazy? Well, what worried me is I wasn't thinking about like eating healthy at all. In France, I just ate literally whatever I wanted, and like sometimes I would be a full baguette and 3 croissants in a day. Like I just was not paying attention. I think at one point I just was like took some butter out of the fridge and I like ate some butter because it was so good.
No wonder you barely spent any money.
I know. I was shopping at Kmart and French Kmart, which is even cheaper than American Kmart, but everything's organic. Like.
And eating butter.
Like, oh my God. And so much cheese. It was bananas.
So you don't want to go. You're tired of flopping.
Yeah. It was hard. And so that first Monday back, I was like in a lot of pain and I was told, I told Ben, I was like, I can't do an aerobics or whatever, acrobatics. And he was like, today we're going to do a rest day. So he separates the class into like groups of 5 and he puts down these mats and he has one person from each group lay down. And then the rest of the group has to massage them with their feet. And it was so fucking disgusting. I hated it. I was like, this is vile, especially because I was in the group with the person I hated and his like little skinny, dirty feet were out touching me, touching my back.
Why did they have you do that?
I don't know. I'm like, why can't we just massage with our hands?
Why are you massaging?
I don't know why we're massaging. I actively don't know why we're massaging. But if we're going to massage, it should be with hands.
The entire time you were there, I pictured you being in situations that you're like, why are we doing this?
It was fucking crazy. So everyone's massaging you. This other girl I hated. There were a couple people I didn't like. But this other girl I hated kept her fucking slippers on while she massaged me. So that you know how much that upset me.
Oh, man.
It was so disgusting. And she was putting her slippers by my face.
Oh, man.
Which is my worst nightmare. It was so gross. And everyone kept being like, you're so loose, Sydney. You're so loose. Most of these people are British. And I was like, yeah, I'm like hypermobile. Like I feel very loose. But I do have like a lot of tension. It's just mostly in my jaw. As we all know, I have TMJ. But my back is very like noodly. So for some reason, my teacher takes this as an invitation to walk on my back. And he stands on my back. He's like, okay, let's try something. He's just like always like... he's like a cartoon who always has a little idea light bulb above his head. And he's like, okay. So he's walking on my back and he's like, how's that feel? And I was like, I can't breathe. So fucking crazy. I forgot to say this one thing, which is so funny. The first day of class of movement, he makes us all go around and like say who we are.
Yeah.
But for some reason he goes, if you're over 30, go, rawr. And if you're under 30, go, woo, woo. And I took this as a personal attack. I was like, why does this man need to know that I'm over 30? And why do I have to go, rrr? Like, it felt so rude. Obviously, most of the class was in their 20s, which I deeply hated.
And you were one of the older people?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I know.
Whoa.
Rude.
Crazy. And Chloe.
Yeah. So that was horrifying. I was like, why do I have to say if I'm over 30? Like, why?
Yeah, I don't know.
Who cares?
What? Usually it would be like, say your name and one fun thing about you.
Yeah, but it was like, no, this guy wants to know if you're over 30.
Yeah, say your name and whether or not you're an old bitch.
Yeah. So yeah, week 2, he's on my last nerve.
The teacher?
Yeah. I start really bitching about him. And he's very handsome. So all the other girls in class are like, he's so hot. Hey, I love him. And I was like, he is public enemy number 1 to me. My groin is still not okay.
Yeah.
I was so mad. And then, so now, 30-minute lunch, we also have to fucking change into our costumes. Which, like, I'm sharing makeup with Facundo and Omar. That was my favorite. He was like, Sydney, can I butter your makeup? And I was like, absolutely. And he puts my mascara on his cheeks. Because his costume, him and Omar got the same costume. And they were supposed to be pimps from Morocco. Which... they did a great job. Facundo ended up not even dressing like a pimp. He ended up dressing like an Argentinian cowboy. And he carried mate on stage.
Who's mate?
Mate's like that tea that they drink in Argentina.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I got Snow White. I had to come out in my costume. So that was horrible. I hate wearing costumes.
Yeah.
Like, this is fun fact. I like improv because you're just in your own clothes.
You're really hating a lot of like enjoying it, but hating it.
Yeah.
Were you enjoying it?
Week 2, I was not enjoying it. I was having a very hard time. Week 1, I had a great time because, like, I'd go to school and then, like, afterwards Chloe and I would, like, dish all the rest of the day and, like, talk about what we were learning. But then after she left, I felt very lonely. And also it just got hard to keep flopping that much. It was truly, like, he would be like, who today, at the end of class, he'd be like, who today was the most catastrophe? Like, just felt so negative.
And they would pick you?
No, I never got worst of the day, thank God. And I got most memorable a couple times, but, like, that's not saying much. Yeah, it does sound very like toxic and, like, yeah,
maybe not toxic, but, like,
I don't know if it was toxic. It just
challenging.
So challenging, and I was so worn out, so drained. It was so exhausting. Like, I would be so fucking tired afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, you're spending the first hours of the day doing, like, flips and shit.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. And then someone else told me that, like, going on stage and, like, the fear of bombing is, like, the same as running from a wild animal. And I was like, great. So my adrenaline is just, like, skyrocketing right now. Yeah, so that second week I really had a hard time. Like, I was crying a lot. I cried in movement class. I was just sitting next to a girl from the States and I was like, are you touchy-feely? And she was like, no, but I'll give people hugs. And I was like, will you give me a hug? And then she gave me a hug and I burst into tears. And I was like, oh no. I haven't had human touch in kind of a long time.
Why did you cry?
I think I missed Chloe. Like, when Chloe left, I cried. I was, like, very lonely.
Yeah.
I've never not had a roommate. Like, I've never lived alone as an adult. So I've never lived alone, period. And I like being with people, I think.
Yeah.
So that was hard. I watched Paddington 3 times.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And you watched it, like, twice when we were home with my parents.
Yeah.
In the last month, you've seen Paddington 5 times.
5 times. Yeah. And I have no regrets. But yeah, I was, like, just, like, emotionally drained. Yeah.
Turns out clown school's not so funny.
It's really not. It's so hard.
Would have been funny if you left after the first week and you're like,
I really thought about it.
You called me and you're like, I flunked out.
I flunked out of clown school. I mean, I only stayed because I paid. Like, I was not gonna give up that money, and I'm glad I did. But the rest of that first week was so fucking hard. Second week, I didn't want to be there. I was so tired of flopping. And then the last day came. I really wanted to ditch. When I found out the last day of clowning, 4 hours of clown class.
Oh my God.
Normally it was 2, which already was like fucking torture.
Yeah.
But 4 hours. And then, so we get in and Carlo's like, today the exercise is you come in and you present your clown and the special skill of your clown. And I was like, how do I get out of here? Like, I have to get out of here.
Had you been working towards that? Like, had you been coming up with stuff for that?
Not really.
It was just like improvised.
Yeah. Like, and so the first guy goes, oh, and so we're with the other group. So there's 2 groups. There's a morning group and an afternoon group. I was in the morning group. So that final day, we're with the afternoon group too. And I had thought these people are idiots. None of them are going to be funny. They just seemed like so dorky.
Yeah.
And not that my group wasn't fucking full of dorks, but like they just felt dorkier.
Yeah.
And then the first guy goes up and he's like really handsome. And I was like, there's no way he's going to be good. He's incredible. And I was like, oh shit. And then another person.
Funny?
Yeah. So funny.
What's he doing?
He's dressed as a giraffe and he's like walking on 2 tiny little boxes so he can like barely walk. And his like pants, he's wearing tiny hot shorts or like hot pants. So his legs are just like out and they're like skinny and muscly and like you just almost see his balls. And it's just he's so funny. And he just like talks like an idiot.
What was he saying?
He was like, I'm a giraffe. I'm named like Nicola. And it was like, it's so funny. And he was like, I pull my tongue out. And then he pulled the tongue out of the mouth of the giraffe. And it was so long. And it was just very funny.
Yeah, it's very silly.
It was so silly. And then like another person from the second group went and they were so funny. And I was like, oh,
do you remember what they did?
What did they do?
Because that's what I'm curious about. Like what exactly they're doing on stage.
They're doing like nonsense. Oh, so one guy comes up, he's dressed as a cop. I was like, there's no way this guy will be funny. He's like, my skill is I play Scrabble. And then he just pretends to play Scrabble with nobody. And it's so funny. We're all dying. And I was like, clowning is fucking insane. And so then this one girl comes out dressed as like kind of crazy Marilyn Monroe. And she pretends to take a shit on stage. And that was deeply not funny.
She flopped.
So I was like, this is so bad.
But it never got funny.
It never got funny.
Because that's kind of the thing they taught you. Like, if something's not working, to keep doing it more.
No, they say if something's not working, try something else.
Gotcha.
So it's like the opposite of improv, kind of.
Okay.
Because in improv, you would never just like drop what you're doing.
Yeah, you
like,
would stay with it.
Yeah, you would commit. So she flops. People are going, I'm having a full-on meltdown. Like, what the fuck am I going to do? And this is when my clown school training kicks in. Because I was like, okay, what worked all week? Every time something surprising happened, like I hit my head, or in one scene, Omar and I went up like earlier in the week and I slapped him, and that really worked. And so anytime something was really surprising, it worked. So you had to have a clown name, and I had just been like trying on a bunch of clown names. Nothing was working. And Ben, the movement teacher, kept calling me Kimberly, and it was pissing me off. I was like, I don't look like a fucking Kimberly. Like, this is rude. My name's not Kimberly. It's Syd. Like, that's not even close. Syd is a cool name. Kimberly is not a good name. I was like, is it because I'm American and I was a cheerleader? So everyone started calling me Kimberly because it was funny. So I was like, okay, I'm going to just be Kimberly, and I'm not doing a fucking accent. Because I think it's funny, like, when we joke around, do it. I don't think it's funny, like, on stage to, like, do it. So I was like, I'm not doing an accent. I'm going to be Kimberly. And we had to have a skill. And I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? So I go up. It's finally my turn. I go up and they're like, what is your clown name? And I was like, hi, I'm Kimberly. And it gets a huge laugh. And I'm like, okay, we got this much. And they go, and what is your special skill? And I go, I'm an alcoholic. And it gets a huge laugh. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah, like I'm doing it. And then you have to show your skill. And I was like, uh-oh. So I just took my wig off and I looked at the audience all sad. And that got a laugh. And I was like, I started drinking when I was 9. I found a Mike's Hard Lemonade in my dad's fridge in the garage. And I was obsessing over it for weeks. And then they banged the gong and took me off. And so then somebody else goes. And then my teacher's like, Kimberly can come back on stage. And I was like, okay. So I come back out and he goes, you do this again. But this time you don't know what an alcoholic is. So you do exactly the same thing. You say, I have my first drink when I was 9, but then you don't know what it is. So this is like the other main clown thing. They're like, it's so much funnier when you don't know what it is.
Yeah. Which is just the exact opposite
of improv.
Of improv.
Yeah.
Because if you're a doctor, you should try to play like a doctor who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, nobody wants to see a doctor who doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah, who's bad at their job. Like, it's so not funny. But in clown, it is funny, I guess. So I go up, I do the exact same thing. I had my first drink when I was 9. Shirley Temple. Nobody laughs.
Really?
Yeah. And then I go, and then I had a hamburger and everybody laughed at that. And I was like, it was so crazy. And everybody laughed. And then I was like, and then I went on a roller coaster and nobody laughed. And so then he was about to bang the drum and I went, and then my friend Vicky looks at me in the audience and she goes like this. She waves her tongue side to side, which was a trick we'd been doing all week. Whenever we were about to be banged off stage, we just kind of would start going, because we just like would try to, if you could get the audience to laugh, they let you stay on stage. So I just go, and everybody's laughing and I keep going, I work on Wall Street. And, and it's getting a laugh and I'm like, this is fucking crazy. And then I go, I'm the Wolf of Wall Street. And then they keep laughing. But then I know too much. And I go, I beat up Margot Robbie. And I was on a boat party with Steve Madden. And then he bangs the gong and he goes, now you know too much. Go.
So that was your last performance.
That was my last performance.
Wasn't there the day where you had to talk like a baby?
Ugh, yeah. There was one exercise where we all line up and they go, okay, now talk to a baby. And one by one, we all had to talk to a baby.
And what was the point of that?
I think the point was to see what gets a laugh. So like when you actually like acted like you were really talking to a baby, that didn't get a laugh. But one guy, the guy who got the biggest laugh, was like, "Oh, it's a baby! It's a baby! It's a baby!" So it was kind of, I think, meant to show us that like the most surprising thing is the funniest.
Yeah.
And then this one guy like did not know what he was doing, and the guy was like, "You should try, please. Like, actually try." And the guy Eric goes, "I'm autistic. I actually don't know how to talk to a baby," and that got a laugh.
Oh man. Well. Fuck. I missed you.
I missed you too. What did you do while I was gone?
I don't know. Like, you know, I think for guys, when their significant other goes away, at first they're like, hell yeah, brother. Got the place to myself. I'm going to have a good old time. And that's true for like a day. But by the second or third day, I was just like, where the fuck's my wife? Where's my wife? Like, I was just like, so you know, we've been together for so long and you occupy so much of my time.
I occupy so much.
Or just like
time.
So much. What do you mean?
No, it's just a funny way to say it.
I mean, you're like always around. You're always there. Like you are a big.
I'm a big time suck.
You're a big fucking time suck.
Big time suck.
You're an important person in my life.
Yeah.
And there's just that third day, I was like having a little bit of an existential crisis. I was like, I have no purpose in my life. Like, what do I do on a Sunday?
Yeah.
You know, like, I've cleaned up my place. I've done my laundry. But I'm not a husband right now. I'm still a husband, of course, but like I don't have a wife right now. I don't have a dog. I don't have a kid. I'm like, what the fuck? Who am I? What do I fucking do?
Yeah.
And then it's like, so I tried to like make plans, and I made plans, and I saw a lot of friends and stuff, but it's so much time to fill.
It's a lot of time to fill.
So there's there's many moments, even though I made a lot of plans and saw a lot of friends, where I'm like pretty lonely and alone.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, those feelings of like, I'm a fucking loser start to seep in. I'm like, because you're like, oh, I'm used to constantly having someone around. Like, you definitely give me independence, and we have like good boundaries and can do our own thing, but like, we're always around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, so that makes you much less lonely. So to not have that, and to only time I would see someone if I make an effort. You have to make an effort.
Yeah.
And I just want to applaud all the single listeners out there. I cannot believe you guys do what you do. It's fucking crazy.
You're the real heroes.
You guys are the real fucking heroes. The fact that you're not like committing suicide. What?
You're telling them their lives are so bad they should commit suicide. No, he's dramatic, because I don't believe for 1 second that he was like, oh yeah, my wife's leaving. I have the house to myself. Like, you were never happy I was leaving. Don't lie.
I'm not lying.
You just said you were like, yeah, my wife's leaving.
I was for the first day. I was like, this is cool.
Yeah, right.
It's cool to be alone.
Uh-huh.
But I agree though. Like, within days, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
I felt at times like a loser, and obviously I'm not. But you really just have to make an effort when you're all alone. Another thought I kept having was just like, oh shit, if I like choke while I'm eating, like I'm just gonna die.
Yeah.
Like, there's no one here. Like, you're just gonna come home to like my gross, disgusting corpse of a body.
Stop making single people scared and feel bad.
I don't need to. They already are.
Noah! We're jealous of your lives. Don't worry.
No, we're not. Why do you feel bad? Stop. They're fine.
They have freedom.
They have freedom. They're fine.
They are fine. They have freedom.
They trade all of it for freedom. But I really was just like, fuck. Like, if I slip and fell and hit my head, I'd be fucking dead.
No, that is scary.
Like, it just dawned on me so many times where, like, there were a couple of times where, like, a life or death situation happened.
Yeah, right.
Well, there was one time where our stove, like, when I was turning it on, it, like, the gas was on for too long and it just, like, kind of exploded. And I was like, that could have burned my fucking face off.
Yeah.
And you'd come home to like some fucking
Phantom of the Opera
shit.
Which that would be hot.
You would love that.
That's the sexiest musical.
If I started wearing a mask around the house, you would like it.
All in half your face, and you sang Andrew Lloyd Webber, I'd be pretty happy. That's a musical I'd like to live.
So yeah,
Except for the ending. She doesn't end up with the Phantom. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah. I also was just like, TMI, but I was just getting so horny.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Oh, God.
Like, I don't know if anyone wants to hear this, but I was just like, I was so horny. And you kept being like, I don't understand why you're more horny. And it's like, because you're not here. Like, there's sex is off the table.
Yeah.
I thought we did a good job of staying in touch.
Yeah. We didn't FaceTime every day.
But you missed me.
Yeah, of course. Like you said, we've been together for 6 years.
I missed you too.
Yeah.
I missed you too. I actually this is what I want to talk about. I did some shows while you were gone, and I was talking about you in a joke, and someone in the audience was like, where's your wife? And I was like, she's in fucking clown school right now. And it got like a huge laugh. And I was like, yeah, man, I don't know. And she's in clown school in France. I'm not kidding. She's really, like, everyone thought it was so funny. I'm like, she's in clown school right now. She's probably out there getting squeaked by a clown. And then I did an act out with you getting fucked by a clown.
Ugh, ew.
And
you were worried I would cheat on you.
Yeah, I was. I mean, we talked about this before you left because it just seemed like if this was a movie and someone was going to clown school, like they would meet the clown for them, you know, but that didn't happen, right?
No, everyone was disgusting.
So if they weren't disgusting, you would have cheated.
100%. No, there were obviously some handsome guys, but I was not into it.
Did you come to any good realizations or lessons from this trip?
Yeah. I mean, I think like taking more risks on stage and being surprising is always like a good idea.
Yeah.
And you know, I romanticize France a lot and Paris, as we all know. He's rolling his eyes. I gotta say, LA's the best place to live. It is awesome here.
Every time you come back from France, or we come back from France, you're like over it. And then in 3 months, you're like, I need to get back there. France is where I belong.
It's really fun and the food's so cheap. So I think and it's so beautiful. And like, I love beauty and food.
So you learned that lesson on stage. Anything about life or about us? Like is there any perspective you've gained?
Yeah. And I, you know, always know this in the back of my head, and it's very cheesy, but like I always want to be in France, go to Paris, like have fun, but being there without you, I was just like, none of this is worth it without you. So like, you know how I pretend that sometimes that I'm a genie and I go, you can either be successful or you can stay married to Syd, but you can't have both. That France got to be my own genie of like, I can either like be in France or be with Noah. And it's like, obviously be with Noah. Like, it doesn't matter where I am or what I'm doing if you're not there. Truly, it's all garbage.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Did you feel that with me away?
Yeah, I mean,
because you have your dream job now.
I do have my dream job, so that is nice. And I feel pretty fulfilled and the days feel good,
but dream job without me.
But yeah, like totally like coming home and like just to an empty apartment. Cause that's the thing when you're alone and you go home, that's it.
Yeah.
You're done for the night.
Yeah.
No more talking, no more socializing. And a couple times I would call my friends or text them and be like, oh, you're feeling lonely? Syd's away. And I'm like, fuck you, man. I am. That's why you're fucking here. Mm-hmm. Or people would be like, oh, you just want to hang out with me because Syd's away? And it's like, what the fuck? It's like, first off, I hang out with you when she's here.
Yeah.
Second off, like, that is how it's supposed to be. If you're in a good relationship, like, majority of your time in an adult relationship is going to be taken up by that relationship. It just is. Majority of it. Not all of it, But yeah, it was just so much time to fill. I worked out a lot. I went skiing. But it's just so sad to be alone.
Noah.
What? It's sad for me. I think like if I were single, like you get to a place where you're used to it, and that's beautiful.
Totally.
And you love yourself, and that's enough.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I mean, I love myself. I guess it's just like, yeah, I just missed you.
Yeah.
When I went to pick Syd up at the airport, I did this thing that I've never done before. Fellas, if you want to impress your lady, or women, you want to impress your man, or whatever gender you subscribe to, if you want to impress your significant other, when you go and pick them up at the airport, park the car, go inside, and wait for them inside.
It is pretty good.
It's romantic.
It's romantic.
So I go inside, I'm waiting for Syd, and I write on a blank piece of paper, clown, and I hold it up. And were you surprised?
Well, so I just assumed he was like going around because we talked on the phone. He was like, yeah, I'm going around. I'll see you. Like, tell me when you come out. So I text him, I'm coming out. And then as I'm coming out, I see people waiting in the airport because I always forget that's a thing. And I see people waiting and I'm like, oh, I bet you this motherfucker is waiting for me in the airport. And I walk out. And I don't see him, and I don't see him. And then I see a sign that says clown, and I see a couple curls of brown hair above it because he's covering his face with it. I was like, there he is. And then I see he's holding a coffee, and I was like, oh man, he did good.
Were you a
the
little
bar is
embarrassed?
high. Yeah, I was embarrassed.
You didn't like it.
No, I didn't like you were filming me.
I know, and then
Why do you always have to film me?
I got so excited that I pressed the stop record button.
Yeah, so there's no footage.
I thought it was so funny.
Yeah.
Like your face, you're like, stop.
It's like, please
Stop filming
I
me.
hate being filmed. Unless it's on my terms.
But yeah, I'm happy you're back, and I'm happy it was a good experience. And I also think I just think it's for you, I don't need to say this, but I'm gonna say it. I think the best thing for your comedy is learning how to take chances and not being afraid to embarrass yourself.
Yeah.
Because I think you have such a writer brain that you're very calculative, which is good and makes you funny in your own right. And I could use more of that,
Yeah.
But I feel like that was such a good experience for you to do that.
Yeah. Because you can't really use your writer brain that much.
No.
You just have to act like a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's an episode.
I think that's an episode too.
Guys, this is the Bedtime Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube page at the Bedtime Podcast and the Clips page on YouTube at the Bedtime Podcast Clips. We still have a Patreon, though we are taking a break from Patreon episodes. But if you do want to support us because you love what we do, there is a $3 membership. That's all we're asking for. That's $36 a year. And that would be great for you to pay for the things you love. Isn't that right, Syd?
I would love that.
And we would also really love, if you are listening, to please write a review.
Yeah, please.
Follow us everywhere. I don't know. I don't think we need to do What Are You Into this week.
I don't either.
I think we gave them a whole bunch to think about.
Yeah. Love you, sleepyheads. You must be ridiculous.
It's the Bedtime Podcast.